There's John again. This is video number 33, and the title is My Fossil. My Fossil. My Uncle Earl, his brother-in-law Bobby, and sometimes another friend of theirs would come up to hunt with me during bear and deer season. We used to hunt bear at a place on Star Road, which is located going north from Route 87 on the Wyoming and Sullivan County line. This year we decided to hunt on the south side of Route 87. That terrain was tough. From the pull-off, there was, and still is, a steep drop of about 100 yards or better going down to the Mahoopany Creek. Then you had to find a way to cross the creek. In a previous year, it was 20 degrees out, and I tried to traverse the creek by way of a felled tree. I slipped and fell in the creek. I had to get back to the car and get warmed up. My boots are freezing stiff. This time I fared better. I made it across. And then came the difficult stuff. We were going up Round Top Mountain. It had been timbered off the year before. The loggers cut a zigzag road up the side of the mountain. They took the good timber-sized logs and left the tops, all of which were pointing downhill. The tops were laid out in row after row. It was tough going for all that. I was 16 at the time and was working 16 hours a day on a neighbor's farm. I was in top shape. Unc used to give me heck because I got so far ahead all the time. Well, I finally made it up to the top of good old Round Top. It was bear season. The day was decent for late November. I found a small clearing. On the east side of the clearing was a huge cave entrance. It was big enough to drive a tractor-trailer into. I looked around and found some bear sign, so I figured they must be in the cave. There was a plateau above the cave. I worked my way around and decided to position myself directly over the cave entrance. I spotted a neat-looking cylindrical-shaped stone standing on end. The top of this stone was worn into a concave depression. It made a perfect seat. Pretty cool, huh? Well, the sun came out, and it was a beautiful day just sitting there waiting for a bear to show itself. There was a thick, flat rock at my feet. It was about 3 feet or more long and about a foot or so wide. It had a noticeable crack on the side. I lifted the top portion of the rock and set it aside. Having a small fossil collection, what I saw was absolutely beautiful. Inside this 4 to 5 inch thick flat rock was a perfect fossilized fern leaf, complete from base of stem to the tiny sprouting leaves on top. It was absolutely perfect and almost the full length of the rock. The inside color of the rock was blue-gray, similar to the blue flagstone harvested around northeast Pennsylvania. The fern was a gold mustard color. With bright sun shining on this contrasting interior, it was gorgeous. You know, when you go to hunt or fish in a remote area like this one, you make sure you have matches, flashlight, knife, gun, ammo, a drink, and in my case, a sack lunch. All this gear stuffed into a hunting coat. What was missing? A camera. I thought about taking the fossil home. I looked over from my position back to where the car was parked along Route 87. The car was about the size of a pencil eraser. I realized that lugging this approximately 40-pound rock back to the car would be disastrous. It would probably get broken. Negotiating all that timber and the creek and then climbing almost straight up to the road would be challenging enough with a rifle, etc. I gently placed the top portion of the rock back in place, leaving that beautiful fossil to perhaps be discovered for the first time again by some other young person. Who knows, maybe I wasn't the first, but it sure seemed like it. The only place it exists in my circle of life is in my mind's eye. At least I can tell about it. Most folks who have never hunted or fished don't realize that it's not always about the getting and catching. I didn't see hide nor hair of a bear that day, but it was one of my most memorable excursions. I hope anyone reading or listening to this has had at least one similar experience in their life. Well, that concludes the My Fossil story. And as always, all the best to everyone.